The vision to ensure a greater Lagos by the Babajide Sanwo-Olu government has, of course, driven this present administration to put so much investment in infrastructural development. There is a strategic agency that is also possibly making efforts to actualize the themes agenda of Mr. Governor in terms of infrastructural development through public-private partnership. And that agency is known as PPP, that's Office of Public-Private Partnership. We're going to be speaking with the Director General, Mr. Okpe George. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me on the show.
First, what is the vision and master plan of the PPP for Lagos State? Is it in tandem with the themes agenda of Mr. Governor?
The PPP office was established in 2008. The law was enacted in 2011. We're here to provide service. We're looking to ensure that we can ensure that private capital is secure. We're looking for private investment in the state. We know that Lagos being a very dynamic state, we have a lot of projects. We can't afford to put everything on our balance sheet. So what we do in PPP is we look for the right sort of private capital to come and augment infrastructural developments, and we partner them with what we want in the public sector. So we have a huge infrastructure gap we're trying to fill in the country, and obviously within the state in Lagos State. Whilst Lagos State we're doing quite well and we're ahead of most of the states, we also know that in terms of infrastructure, we have roads, we have other forms of multimodal transports we have to develop. We have healthcare, we have education, we have waste management. So for a thriving huge city like Lagos, we have a huge amount of potential that cuts across various sectors which we're looking to develop. We also know that, whilst it's easy for us to sort of get tied down with the huge type infrastructure projects like the bridges, the roads, we also have to look for quick wins and look at other PPPs within certain sectors that can provide quick value for money, and our citizens can see quick returns on immediately. So, and we work with all the ministries, so every sector is key and is critical for us. We're very big on training and development. We have a good human capital development policy. We're constantly trying to ensure that we can develop that and do better. A lot of our work we're doing with the private sector. So you sit down, you're interacting with private sector professionals who come into your office with 10, 15 bankers and 20 lawyers. So you have to ensure that, you can also stand your ground as well. On the themes pillar, we fall under making Lagos the 21st century economy. So we have a very supportive administration, very supportive governor. We're also very target-driven, and where we like to ensure that we can deliver on what it is we've been mandated to do. So by the nature of the work we do, we also have various relationships with a lot of the multilateral agencies, the World Bank, and the IFC, to ensure that at least, they can always come to us and we can go to them for, things like project development and guidance on other factors with PPPs as well, yes.
What are some of the partnership projects executed and ongoing since you came on board? And what are the major determinant factors and process considered in the PPP arrangements and projects?
We find that most times we want to develop a project, we want projects, but what we've learned and what we know is that not every project is the right project, not every project is suitable. There's some projects that are better suited by government just handling on its own. And there are also certain projects that, are suited where, private capital, private expertise comes in and helps. So which is when we talk about the project viability, the project scope, value for money, and all these terms we use. Yeah. So we also find that within government, it's not just, there also has to be a balance. There also has to be a point where it's a lot viable and it provides value for money. So at that point, you have to say that, look, if the private sector comes to do this project for you, it's providing value for money where it's economically better for the private sector to do it for you. And there are some parts where if government does it, it's actually better for government to do it because it provides more value for money. It's cheaper for the government to do it itself as opposed to having private capital, which obviously wants a return on its investment to come in and do that. So those are the various ways. And then also when you talk about project scoping, one of the things we've learned and we have to do and we're getting better at is we find that we have to do a lot of studies and research on projects before we go ahead and take them to the market. Because most times you find that if you don't do these things, You then go and you talk to a private investor. You need to know what you want as the government and know what you want to do. So you have all the details, you have your studies, you've got your project plan, and then you can then go out and look for the best option to suit that. We've had quite a few projects cutting across various spheres of MDAs and various parts of government, as I said, education, healthcare. We have landmark and projects which everyone knows about. We have the Fourth Mainland Bridge project, which we're currently developing, which is going through procurement stage now, where we started from an expression of interest, is a 6-stage to a request for qualification. We're now at an RFP stage, and then hopefully once we get that, we'll go to RFP stage 2, and then we'll then go into a negotiation process and we have a preferred bidder. I'm happy to say that we've made significant progress on that. We're currently at the RFP stage 1 now, which we're concluding in the next couple of weeks, and we should be able to move on to RFP stage 2. We also have another project called the Lagos Medical Park, which we're developing. It used to be on the old School of Nursing site on Awolowo Road. So we're looking to develop a world-class medical facility there. We've gone through a procurement process as well. We're actually currently now speaking with the preferred bidder, and we're hoping that towards the end of this year as well, we should be able to make progress on that and at least have started the process of developing that as well. We've done some things in education. We're developing some hostels in Lasu. We're working with 6 developers. We're creating over 6,000 bed spaces in Lasu, and then we've done some in healthcare as well, with the MCCs, maternal and childcare facilities in some parts of Lagos as well. So we have people approach us, and say, look, they'd want to partner with the government on certain projects in various sectors. Then we also have projects where we want to develop, and we send out expressions of interest and say, look, the state wants to develop a medical park or develop an agric facility, and then people then come in and say, well, we're interested in it. They put in their papers, and we go through the process of scrutinizing, and then we pick a preferred partner. Transport as well, we're looking at the rail line, so the blue line and the red line, we're making good progress on those. Look around Lagos, you see that a lot of the physical infrastructure for the blue line is going on. So towards Marina, you see the stations, they've started the construction of the stations. We're currently looking at the process of looking for a preferred concessionaire for both lines. So there's a lot going on. A lot of due diligence goes into who we contract with and who we partner with. We also ensure that what we're getting provides value for money for the citizens. So we ensure that it's not as a case of just the private sector, being able to reap the rewards, but also, the public Lagos citizens must be able to get value from what we're getting and proposing to them. So it's a good balance, but we found that there's been a good response. Lagos is a good place for investments, dynamic economy.
What is the maintenance plan for these projects? And what are the challenges experienced by the PPP to actualize its mandate?
Thank you. And that's actually a very good question. So you find that a lot of times we tend to just focus and concentrate on the actual development of the project, so the development of the roads and everything. But we also have other aspects to it. So we have operation and maintenance aspects to it, where we just focus purely on that, and we actually contract out and talk to private sector for management of various facilities the government owns. So, if I take tourism industry, for example, we have some theaters which the state has developed, which we've actually contracted out to private sector to manage and operate for us. So we find that what comes in is the efficiency. Private sector is coming in with their funds, so that ensures that the management is a lot more efficient. And then what we just do is we ensure that at least our assets are developed properly and are kept in good order, and the state just gets a return on its investment. So we do look at a lot of O&M and a lot of management and contracts as well for our facilities. We always have challenges, but one of the things I like to say is that we have good people within our state and within our office and within the government. But I think more importantly, once you have good people, we also have good institutions. So we'll find that in the office of PPP, where irrespective of who sits here, the institution can sort of develop and outlive the current person who's managing it. So whilst we have challenges, we try as much as possible to look for ways to sort of surmount them.
On a final note, what are the future projections of the PPP? Your word of assurance and encouragement to prospective stakeholders, your partners, and of course, to Lagosians.
I think Lagosians should look out for a diversity and raft of different types of PPPs. So I think it's usually you talk about, as we said, the infrastructure projects, the roads, the big ticket projects, which are good and which are needed. But I think we're finding now that we need to spread out a bit more. So you have private collaboration that goes across various spheres. So what we like to call people-friendly PPPs. So things that can actually impact directly and are more low-hanging, as well. So, for instance, one of the things we were trying out now is we're trying out a bike share scheme. We're working with a private company to have bicycles put in various places so people can actually get them, rent them and use them and put them back. So little things like that we're looking at. We have a reward cash token scheme we're currently looking at launching, So they're all soft. They're soft transactions we're looking at, that are a bit more, people can identify with a bit more, whilst we still continue developing the rail, the transports, the healthcare and the education, which we're looking at. We're a very professional outfit. We ensure that, once you come and invest or you come and talk to Lagos or partnering with Lagos, you can see that one, you're going to get value for your investment, and then also your investment is secure. So, we have policies, we have laws that guide and protect your investments, because I feel as though, once you build on that and you keep developing that, then it just means that, irrespective of who's sitting on the seat, you know that there's a sanctity of agreements, and you can come and contract with a professional body. We're very dynamic people as Lagosians. I think no matter what you do, no matter where you go, once you come back to Lagos, you're happy to be there. We're fantastic, dynamic people. So I think the best is yet to come, and I think it's just for us to remain optimistic and just keep working at it.
Mr. Ope George, thanks for coming on the City of Lagos TV show. So we want to wish you all the best. And so that's it for now. The City of Lagos TV show will continue in a moment.